Greetings, shippers! Hey, and you guys want to see how a headcanon is born? You do? Well then you're in luck. So before we dive into this, let's have a brief refresher on what exactly is a headcanon.
A headcanon is defined as elements and interpretations of a fictional universe accepted by an individual fan but not found within or supported by the official canon. Though it must be noted that oftentimes the inspiration for these canons may be found within the main canon, though not necessarily. Also, there may be multiple individuals supporting the same headcanon, though not quite enough to make said headcanon fanon. Speaking of official canon, a brief synopsis for those not familiar with these shows. Supernatural, an ongoing at the time of this recording genre show, primarily focused on the adventures of the Winchester brothers as they battle a variety of supernatural creatures while facing their own inner demons and attempting to maintain their brotherly bond. Next up, Gilmore Girls, a slice-of-life drama primarily focused on Lorelai and Rory Gilmore, a close-knit mother and daughter who navigate their various trials and tribulations with their quick wits and a cast of colorful supporting characters, as well as food. It must be noted that their problems are slightly, or for some largely, unrelatable.
Now, headcanons are everywhere, and for those who aren't that deeply involved in fandom, they can often appear confusing. Just where exactly do they come from? What inspires them? Well, in an effort to explore that, let's look at the genesis of one of my own. I'm talking about the beautiful crossover world of Supernatural and Gilmore Girls. That's right, because these two things belong together, even if it doesn't seem so at first, and it probably doesn't. So where did this all start? Well, for me, it was the fact that Jared Padalecki plays Dean on Gilmore Girls and then Sam on Supernatural, meaning that there's already technically a shared character if you want to do some work to rework the backstory to make it fit. And oh boy, did I rework this backstory. In my story, Dean is on the run from his hunter family. He's tried to start a new life, and that's why he's come to Stars Hollow. And there he falls for ordinary girl Rory Gilmore.
The two grow closer. Sam starts to think maybe he could have this life, even if it is a lie.
But then, wait, who shows up but his older brother, the actual Dean?
Dean Winchester makes quite a stir in the small town with his rough attitude and cool car. He's jet times 10. Of course, he drags the hunter life in with him, and the Gilmore Girls find themselves caught up in a paranormal world they never knew existed.
Can Rory survive as a hunter? Probably not. She could barely handle Chilton.
One of the hurdles for some sticklers out there is the fact that Padalecki's Gilmore Girls character is named Dean. However, that can be easily worked around with identity theft.
Because that's right, he took his brother's name in an attempt to hide from his family. Why would they be looking for Dean?
Also, Dean moves around so much and uses so many false identities himself, Sam using him as a cover seems about par for the course.
But don't think the connections stop there. Once you've started to build a headcanon, all kinds of tiny superficial details can come into the fan's head and create more and more details. World building, as it were. And come on, don't pretend you don't want to see the Gilmore Girls theme with supernatural characters.
All you have to do is call my name and I'll be there on the next train. Bringing me, I will follow anywhere.
Admittedly, some headcanons rest upon one sole idea, but the ones that balloon into something more, potentially becoming fanon, often have multiple parts.
Another mark of a strong headcanon is the ability for it to be built on, or if it yields multiple potential scenarios, or has the potential to be widely applied, as is the case with the coffee shop, Alpha Beta Omega, soul marks, and many more, though those are more concept-based than character or situation-based. So let's add more to this.
Enter pie. Because what kind of supernatural crossover would it be without pie?
The love of pie is a character trait shared by Lorelai Gilmore and Dean Winchester, and offers up many an opportunity for the two to bump into each other, and as a thawing point between them, given the hostility that would most likely sour their first meeting. A meeting that could take place in a variety of locations.
It also helps that Stars Hollow is exactly the kind of small town you can imagine the Winchester brothers driving through, except with far more memorable side characters who you'd actually be sad to see killed. Well, for the most part. I'm sure there are some side characters that people hated.
The shared Gilmore Girls Supernatural verse has much potential, as thanks to the road trip nature of Supernatural, its location can change easily, and the brothers can blend into many worlds.
Hopefully that was an interesting foray into the birth of a headcanon for those who are curious about exactly how they start. Just like a ship, you never know where a headcanon will strike or where you'll find your inspiration. It could be anywhere. What's the craziest headcanon that you guys have come up with? What about a crossover? What worlds do you believe belong together that no one else seems to? Let me know down below. Maybe we can do a special headcanon theater and see how plausible all of them would be. Not that plausibility has any bearing on the amount of enjoyment a person can get out of their headcanon. Also, for those wondering, yes, this is a Guitar Dad Teaches You Guitar shirt. One of my favorite shirts.
This has been Shipper's Guide to the Galaxy. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter to stay up to date or just hang out. Also, special thanks to all my patrons for helping make this possible, names on the side, and as always, stay tuned, for there are as many ships out there as there are stars in the sky.